most shocking of all, we get NFL legend Jim Brown in this
Yes.
movie.
He must have had a mortgage payment to make, although I really can't imagine that Amir Shervan paid too much. I actually
No, I can't either.
I recently watched, I have the Blu-ray of Samurai Cop, and I watched the commentary on it with the lead actor, and he said
Okay.
something like he got paid a daily rate of like $200, and he's the star of the film. I can't imagine that. I mean, maybe Jim Brown was collecting a lot extra just because of his name and recognition, because he's not a very
had to
main
have
character.
I think he's got to be top billed, but he's only in a handful of scenes. Most of them are shot in a day. Most of his scenes are at his desk. But
Yeah.
it's amazing, though. This is like, what's the equivalent to this? Jim Brown, up until, Tom Brady has now won, 6 or 7 Super Bowls. Jim Brown was kind of consensusly the greatest football player ever for a long period of time.
Yeah. And he also had a long acting career of legitimate films.
he's not an unaccomplished actor. He was a relatively big star in kind of like the blaxploitation films of like the 70s and stuff.
Yep. He was in The Dirty Dozen, a very well-known World War II film from the late 60s.
Might have even been during his playing career. Yeah, with Donald Sutherland and Lee Marvin, and I think Charles Bronson's in that.
Yep. And then here he is in Killing American Style.
Yes. This, like, I'm thinking the equivalent of this, and it's like, this is like if Michael Jordan was in the room. Probably,
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah.
It's really shocking to think that Amir Shervan, the guy that made Samurai Cop, had Jim Brown in a movie, and especially too because Amir Shervan, willing to bet he doesn't know who the hell Jim Brown is certainly as a football player.
Probably not. Probably not. Yeah.
So he doesn't even realize who he's working with. He's working with like a living legend.
Yeah, I do recommend, if you can get the Blu-ray for Samurai Cop. The quality of the footage is amazing, again, because they actually restored it from the originals. But the commentaries are really good, too, and I found them really interesting. Apparently, Amir Shervan was really, really good at just BSing his way into things.
That's probably true of a lot of, like, really low-budget filmmakers. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it's true of, like, Roger Corman. Like, Roger Corman, I just learned from an episode of The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. He made the movie Humanoids from the Deep, which is a movie about alien sea monster things that rape and kill women, and it's like the filthiest movie you've ever seen from 1980, and yet he got like legitimate stars in that movie, and supposedly it was because he went up to them and lied to them about the name of the movie that he was making.
Right.
Gave them a different script or something like that.
Yeah, so I could imagine Amir Shervan somehow getting Jim Brown by like BSing to him about what the film actually was. And I mean, but his scenes are mostly unconnected with the other ones.
Right, they are. But maybe not even, because I don't think the substance of this movie is that unlike a movie that Jim Brown would have made. It's really just the execution is just so bad. Because this is just a basic action movie. This is actually kind of a remake of, there was like a 50s, like a film noir. I can't remember the name of it, but it had some like big stars. Like, maybe Sinatra was in it or something, but it's a movie about like these like escaped convicts break into a home and just like take people hostage and stuff. So it's like the actual substance
it's pretty
of the
much the exact same movie.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe I'm screwing that up because I'm just thinking of this movie. I don't know, but like the substance is not exactly like a cult thing. Like some movies are destined to be cult movies just by like what they're about. Like think of the movie like Basket Case, a movie about a guy whose Siamese twin brother is this twisted lump of flesh that goes around killing people. Like that's going to be a cult movie. You're not going to be able to cast an A-lister in that movie just from the premise alone. But some movies just kind of become culty or exploitation-y in just their execution, and I think that's the case here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you just had a very bare-bones plot synopsis of this film, it would sound like 150 other 1980s action movies.
With a good director and a good writer, this could have been a good movie. I mean, you have to use your imagination a bit.
Yes.
but it's a possibility.